$200 a month, less than most people spend on takeout and coffee. And yet that tiny, boring amount can quietly grow into $500,000. Not through luck, not through a hot stock, not through some risky overnight scheme. Through one quiet trick that almost anyone can use starting this very month. It is not really a trick at all. It is a force, and it is called compounding. Einstein supposedly called it the eighth wonder of the world, and for good reason. Those who understand it, the saying goes, earn it. Those who do not, pay it. Compounding is the closest thing to real magic that ordinary money ever gets. And most people go their entire lives without ever truly putting it to work. They assume it is only for the already wealthy and quietly walk right past it. Meet Simone. She is 30, she is not rich, and she is about to try this trick. Simone does not have a big salary or a secret inheritance waiting for her. She just has $200 a month she is willing to set aside on purpose. By the end of this, that $200 becomes around $500,000. And the wildest part is how little of that money actually comes from Simone. She never earns a fortune. She never wins a jackpot. She never makes a bold bet. She just keeps quietly feeding a boring machine, and the machine does the rest. Years earlier, Simone had asked a bank teller where to even put her money. The teller showed her that a plain savings account barely grew at all over time. That was the moment Simone realized saving and investing are not the same thing. So today we break down exactly how $200 becomes $500,000. By the end, you will see there is nothing magic about it, and yet it feels like magic. You will also see why the people who quietly do this rarely talk about it. Step by step with real numbers so you can run this same trick yourself. Picture Simone at her kitchen table holding a single crumpled $200 plan. She almost talked herself out of it. 200 felt far too small to bother with. What she did not yet understand was how violently that small number would grow. That gap between how small it feels and how big it becomes is the whole story. First, understand why this sounds too good to be true, but genuinely is not. $200 a month for 40 years is only $96,000 in, yet it can grow to over $500,000. That gap feels almost impossible. The missing $400,000 is not money Simone earned at a job. It is money her money made while she slept, worked, and lived her normal life. That is the part that breaks people's brains. Money that makes more money. We are wired to think in straight lines. Save a dollar, have a dollar. Simple addition. But compounding does not move in a straight line. It curves gently, then violently upward. There is a famous riddle that captures this perfectly. A penny that doubles daily. Would you rather have $1 million or a penny that doubles for 31 days? Almost everyone grabs the million. It feels obviously overwhelmingly smarter. But that doubling penny becomes over $10 million by day 31. That is compounding. It looks laughable early, then it laughs last and loudest. Our minds are terrible at picturing that curve, so we quietly underestimate it. Which is exactly why so few people ever bother to start. It feels pointless early. The early years are slow and boring, so most people quit before the magic begins. But those who simply stay in their seats are the ones who reach the $500,000. No hype, no shame. Just a boring force and the patience to let it work. No shame for anyone who has not started. The system rarely teaches this clearly. Most of us were told to save, but never shown the quiet power of investing early. So this is not a lecture. It is the lesson most of us simply never received. So let us keep it specific. Here is exactly what the data shows. Think of a single lily pad on a pond that doubles in size every day. For weeks, it looks like almost nothing, a tiny speck barely covering the water. Then, in just the final few days, it suddenly covers the entire pond. Compounding money behaves exactly like that lily pad. Slow, then astonishing. The mistake almost everyone makes is quitting during the slow, boring early days. Simone's real advantage was simply refusing to quit before the pond filled. To see the trick clearly, let us follow Simone against a second person. Meet Tara. Tara is the same age with the same $200 a month to spare. But Tara does not believe $200 could ever really matter. So Tara spends hers or parks it in a checking account earning almost nothing. Simone instead puts her $200 to work inside a simple investment account. Same age, same money, same starting line. Only the decision is different. For the first few years, honestly, you can barely tell them apart. Tara even teases Simone for locking money away she cannot spend right now. But quietly, invisibly, Simone's money has already started making more money. And that small head of growth becomes the seed of something enormous. Meet their mutual friend Andre, who is sure he has a smarter, faster way. Andre chases hot tips and quick flips. Certain slow investing is for suckers. We will check back on all three of them as the decades quietly roll by. Because the trick is not about being clever, it is about which force you let work for you. Simone chose the boring force, and boring over 40 years becomes breathtaking. Andre, meanwhile, was certain he would be far ahead of boring Simone by now. He had a few explosive wins early and could not stop talking about them. But he also had brutal losses he was much quieter about at dinner parties. His account lurched up and down and mostly just went sideways over the years. All that stress and excitement, and he barely outran a plain savings account. So let us open the engine and see exactly how the trick actually works. Before we open the engine, Simone did one smart thing worth pausing on. She met with a financial advisor once, just to make sure her simple plan was sound. The advisor told her something surprising. Your plan is almost too simple to improve. He confirmed the boring path would very likely beat most clever, complicated ones. Reassured, Simone went home, set it up, and mostly forgot about it for decades. Let us put the whole trick in real, specific numbers first. Simone invests $200 a month every month for 40 years. She earns roughly a 7% average return, about what a broad market has done. Over those 40 years, she personally contributes $96,000. $96,000 in, and by the end, she has around $525,000. So of that $500,000, over $400,000 is pure, effortless growth. That growth cost Simone nothing beyond the patience to leave it undisturbed. Read that again. 4/5 of her wealth was made by her money, not by her. Simone worked for the first $96,000. Compounding built the rest for free. Imagine working for 1/5 of your wealth and being gifted the other 4/5. That is the deal compounding quietly offers to anyone patient enough to accept it. Let us compare that to just leaving the same money in a plain savings account. In savings earning almost nothing, that $96,000 stays roughly $96,000. Invested, the same contributions became more than 5 times as much. That 5-fold difference is not luck. It is simply what compounding does over time. That is the entire trick in one sentence. Small money plus time becomes big money. It is almost insultingly simple, which is exactly why so many people dismiss it. But simple is not the same as easy. The hard part is patience, not brains. And notice we used a modest 7%, not some fantasy double-digit return. We did not assume Simone got lucky or picked a single winning company. This is the boring average outcome of just owning the market for a long time, which means it is not a best case. It is a very reachable, ordinary case. Run the numbers yourself, and the trick holds up in cold, undeniable arithmetic. Let us watch Simone's balance grow, decade by decade, so the shape is unmistakable. After 10 years, she has put in $24,000 and has maybe $35,000. Nice, but not life-changing yet. This is where most people lose their patience. After 20 years, she has around $104,000. Now, growth is clearly pulling ahead of what she has actually contributed. After 30 years, she is near $245,000. And in the final decade, it explodes past $500,000. In that last stretch, her account gained more each year than she earned at her job. Her money had quietly become a second tireless worker earning alongside her. That last decade alone added more than the first 30 years combined. This is why quitting early is such a tragedy. You bail right before the explosion. So how does $96,000 quietly become $500,000? Growth on growth. In year 1, Simone's small balance earns a small amount of growth. Nothing dramatic. But the next year, that growth also earns growth, and so does the year after. Her money starts making money, and then that new money starts making money too. Each year, the growth is built on a slightly bigger base than the year before. So the growth itself keeps accelerating, quietly, year after year after year. A useful shortcut is the rule of 72. It shows how fast money doubles. At 7%, money roughly doubles about every 10 years, again and again. Over 40 years, Simone's early dollars go through nearly 4 full doublings. And each doubling is bigger than all the doublings that came before it combined. This is why an extra decade at the end matters more than an extra decade at the start. It is also why quitting 5 years early can cost you an entire final doubling. The finish line is where the magic lives, so the whole game is simply reaching it. That final doubling, near the end, is where the truly life-changing money appears. Imagine folding a single sheet of paper in half, over and over again. After 10 folds, it is thick as a hand. After 20, taller than a house. Keep folding, and it would reach past the clouds, from the very same sheet. Nothing changed except repetition. That is compounding's quiet, staggering power, which is why the trick rewards patience so heavily. The best part comes last. There is a reason the wealthy talk about compounding almost like a religion. It quietly rewards the one thing most people find hardest, doing nothing for years. It does not care how you feel, how smart you are, or how the news looks. It only asks 2 things of you: a little money and a lot of patience. Give it both, and it works for you every second of every day, forever. Now, the ingredients that make the trick actually happen. Ingredient 1, automation. Simone did not rely on willpower to invest $200 each month. She set up an automatic transfer the same day her paycheck landed forever. The money moved to investing before she could ever feel tempted to spend it. You never miss money that quietly leaves before it ever touches your checking account. Automation also creates a hidden bonus called dollar cost averaging. Because Simone buys every single month, she buys in good markets and bad ones alike. When the market is high, her 200 simply buys a few shares. But when the market crashes, that same 200 buys many more shares on sale. Think of it like buying groceries you always need, no matter the price that week. When they are expensive, you get a little. When they are cheap, you stock up big. Over time, your average price lands well below the scary peaks, automatically. You never have to guess whether today is a good day to buy. You just always buy. So for Simone, a market crash is not a disaster. It is a quiet discount. While others panic and sell, her automatic plan is calmly buying the bargain. The biggest enemy of the small investor is not the market. It is their own emotions. Fear makes us sell at the bottom. Greed makes us buy at the top. Automation quietly removes those two hands from the steering wheel entirely. Simone never had to be brave in a crash. Her plan was brave for her, automatically. Automation turns your worst emotions into someone else's problem, not yours. Ingredient 2 is the quiet multiplier almost everyone forgets. Reinvest dividends. Many investments pay you small cash dividends just for holding them. You can take those dividends as cash or plow them straight back in. Simone reinvests every single dividend automatically without ever thinking about it. Each reinvested dividend buys more shares, which then pay even more dividends. It is a second compounding loop, quietly spinning on top of the first one. The difference this makes over 40 years is genuinely staggering. With dividends reinvested, Simone reaches that full $500,000. Without reinvesting them, she might have ended closer to $300,000. That single forgotten setting was worth well over $200,000. Most brokers let you switch reinvestment on with a single click, once, forever. It costs nothing, takes seconds, and quietly compounds for the rest of your life. Yet millions of people leave it off and let their dividends sit as idle cash. $200,000 from one little checkbox most people never even notice. Think of dividends as fruit that a money tree quietly drops every season. You can eat the fruit today or plant it and grow even more trees. Simone planted every piece of fruit, so her orchard kept quietly multiplying. Tara ate hers, enjoyed a few small treats, and her single tree stayed one tree. Decades later, Simone had a forest. Tara still had one modest, lonely tree. So reinvesting is not optional. It is a huge, silent part of the entire trick. Ingredient 3 protects everything else. Keep costs low and keep your hands off. Simone put her money in a plain, low-cost, broad index fund. Nothing fancy. An index fund quietly owns a little slice of hundreds of companies at once. No stock picking, no genius required, just owning the whole market cheaply. But watch what happens if she had paid just 1% more in fees each year. 1% sounds tiny. Over 40 years, it quietly devours your returns. That 1% fee could have cost Simone over $120,000. A fee is compounding running in reverse, quietly against you instead of for you. So Simone kept her costs near zero and let almost every dollar keep working. Then came the hardest ingredient of all. She left the account completely alone. She did not panic sell in crashes. She did not chase fads. She just kept holding. Meanwhile, Andre tinkered constantly and quietly bled his returns dry. Every trade cost him fees, taxes, and a chance to buy back in at a worse price. Let us make the fee drag painfully concrete because it hides so quietly. A 1% fee does not take 1% of your money once. It takes a slice every year, and it steals all the future growth that slice would have made. Over 40 years, that steady little nibble ate a six-figure hole in Simone's twin. Same fund, same effort, same everything, minus one small percentage point of fees. That is why the cheapest boring fund often beats the fanciest expensive one. There is a famous study idea that the best investors are often the forgetful ones. People who forgot they even had an account did not panic sell or tinker. Their neglect protected them from their own worst instincts, purely by accident. Simone did on purpose what those lucky people did by forgetting. She left it alone. Doing less, it turns out, was the most advanced move of them all. Now here's the twist that reframes this whole so-called trick. There was never actually a trick. There was only patience, disguised as one. Everything Simone did was almost aggressively boring, ordinary, and unremarkable. She invested a small amount, automatically, and then she waited for decades. The real secret was not what she did. It was everything she refused to do. She refused to panic. She refused to tinker. She refused to interrupt the growth. Here is what actually happens to people who treat investing like entertainment. They chase the excitement, and the excitement quietly eats their returns alive. Andre had thrilling years and terrible years and ended with far less than Simone. Boring, patient Simone quietly lapped him without ever raising her heart rate. Simone never once tried to predict a single thing about the market. She just assumed it would rise, fall, and rise again, and planned to sit through it all. That single humble assumption beat every confident forecast Andre ever chased. The market does not pay you for being smart. It pays you for being patient. A brain surgeon and a bus driver get the identical compounding rate on the same fund. The market does not know or care who you are. It only rewards how long you stay. And patience is the one edge available to absolutely everyone, at any income. You do not need to be rich or brilliant or lucky to run this trick. Think about how radically fair that is compared to almost everything else in money. You cannot out-earn a billionaire, but you can be every bit as patient as one. Compounding does not check your job title, your degree, or your background. It rewards the janitor and the executive with the exact same math. That is what makes this the most democratic wealth-building tool ever created. You only need a small amount, a boring fund, and the discipline to leave it alone. Here is the line worth remembering. Time in the market beats timing the market. Notice how the trick quietly flips from a money problem into a character one. The math was never the hard part. The math was settled centuries ago. The hard part is being the kind of person who can leave a good thing alone. Simone did not beat the market with intelligence. She outlasted it with temperament. And temperament, unlike a hot stock tip, is something you can actually build. The trick was never about being clever with money. It was about being calm with time. There is a strange dignity in Simone's boring approach that Andre never found. She never had a thrilling year. She also never had a devastating one. Andre had the highs of a casino and eventually the lows of one too. The market quietly transferred money from the impatient Andre to the patient Simone. That transfer happens in every generation, in every market, over and over again. The patient investor is almost always quietly on the winning side of it. Do the boring thing for a boring long time and the result is anything but boring. So let us turn this whole trick into something you can start this very week. Simone actually did it on her lunch break, right there on her phone. The whole thing that would grow into $500,000 took about 10 minutes to begin. Step 1. Open a simple, low-cost investment account. It takes about 10 minutes. Step 2. Set up an automatic transfer of whatever amount you can truly afford. It does not have to be $200, even $50 a month starts the engine. The exact amount matters far less than simply starting and never stopping. You can always raise the amount later. You can never buy back the lost years. Step 3. Buy a broad index fund and switch on automatic dividend reinvestment. Then set a single simple rule for yourself and write it somewhere you will see it. No matter what the news says, I keep buying and I never sell in a panic. A rule written in calm times will steady your hand when the headlines turn scary. Step 4, and the hardest of all. Leave it completely alone for decades. Do not check it daily. Do not panic in crashes. Do not chase the next shiny thing. If you can, nudge your contribution up a little each time your income rises. A raise is the perfect moment to feed the machine more without feeling any pinch. But even if you never increase it, the original plan still quietly does its work. Just keep feeding it quietly and let boring, patient time do the heavy lifting. A 25-year-old starting today holds an almost unfair advantage over their future self. Every extra year you give the machine is another year it works entirely for free. If you are young, this trick is almost unfairly powerful in your favor. Even starting at 40 or 50, compounding still has real, powerful work left to do. You will not reach the exact same number, but you will reach a far better one than zero. The worst possible move is to decide it is too late and do nothing at all. And if you feel late, the second best time to start is always right now. Make the decision that matches your reality, not someone else's sales pitch. If this finally made compounding click for you, subscribe to Robert Money Logic. Hit the notification bell so the next breakdown reaches you at the right moment. We break down the hidden math behind the financial decisions you face every single day. Somewhere, a version of you in 40 years is quietly hoping you start today. You can be the reason that future person is calm, secure, and quietly free. Years from now, you will not remember the months the market scared you. You will only see the quiet tower your patience built while you lived your life. That tower is not a reward for being smart. It is a reward for simply beginning. Do not wait for a raise, a bonus, or the perfect moment to start. The perfect moment never comes. The best you will ever get is right now. So begin. Small, boring, automatic, and today. Then let the decades surprise you. The trick that turns 200 into 500,000 was never really a trick. Simone is not special. She is just proof of what patience quietly does to money. The same math is sitting there, unused, waiting for you the moment you begin. Every month you wait, you hand a few of your best doublings quietly away. But every month you start, you put those same doublings firmly on your side. So the real question is not whether the trick works. It provably does. The only real question is whether you will be patient enough to let it. $200, a boring fund, and a lot of patience. That was the whole secret. It was patience, quietly compounding, for anyone boring enough to let it work.